Brown versus the Board of Education Supreme Court ruling of 1954 allowed for the legal desegregation of the American school system. However, most colleges and universities continue to be predominantly white in their student body, their environment, their curriculum, and their exclusionary practices. The following short film you're about to see is the result of actual footage that was videotaped on the campus of the University of Nevada, Reno between the years of 2000 and 2002. It illustrates contemporary institutional racism within higher education, depicting the experiences of the students of color and alternative lifestyles as they struggled with anonymous campus participation and implicit institutional recognition of a racist secret society. The name of the society is Coffin and Keys, and it has historical ties to the Ku Klux Klan. It was also during this time that these same concerned students attempted to diversify the university's curriculum to include the relevant cultural history of students of color instead of the required and narrowly focused Eurocentric curriculum that was in place.
You know, we've come up through classes in high school and grade school that have always preached things that are about the Greeks and about the Romans and that nature. It is about time we start learning about ourselves as well as others.
The first part of this film deals with their struggles against the racist secret society. The second part of this film portrays their struggles with attempting to diversify the curriculum. This is our story.
Good evening, Senators and guests. As Vice President of Programming Board, this piece of legislation was first discussed when our board felt concerned about the integrity and values of our programming and our ability to fulfill the principles, operations, and mission of our programming. In programming, we are committed to providing quality programs that specifically address the wellness model in which the social, recreational, spiritual, educational, political, and emotional needs of the students are met. In addition to the wellness model, we are committed in providing responsible programming and we are responsible in providing quality programming and responsible programming that will allow members of our community to interact with each other, enjoyment, stability, sensitivity, inclusiveness, bring different needs and perspectives, as well as provide programs that will allow members of communities to feel empowered and voice their concerns. Because we strongly believe in these standards and we abide by our constitutional duties, we believe that the homecoming parade does not reflect this or is not on that stand. Currently, we feel that the programming board, we feel that the homecoming parade does not equate to the standards of ASUN or a programming board. We felt it was our responsibility to bring this out of the board so we can discuss the responsibilities that you as a Senate have, and as well as address the constituent needs, concerns of the constituents. We have Mr. Ricky Medina, President of the Lions, present at this meeting, as well as other members of the Lions and their advisors to address some of these issues pertaining to part of this issue. The legislation really represents the collective thoughts and opinions of a large number of students. To the best of my ability, I try to bring to the voice concerns and thoughts. I sincerely submit this consideration to you guys and questions. Thank you.
Vice President.
I'm the president of the Alliance, so my constituency would be the students of color and queer students here on campus. Last year, this issue was brought up by a large number of those students. And we sat down with the homecoming, with the people who are in charge of the parade, and we discussed this issue. We were left, after discussing with them, I was left with the impression that the policies would change for the homecoming parade to come. But after this year, after meeting with the people who are in charge of the parade now, it has come to our attention that no policy, nothing is going to be changed. We feel that this isn't just an issue for us, since seeing how large the students of color on this campus and the queer students are part of your constituency, it is an ASUN issue. And that's why we're bringing it. There's a lot of students of color on this campus don't feel that they are a part of, they don't feel a part of the university. We're trying to meet the ASUN student government halfway. We're trying to do our part, and we're asking that you do yours.
I don't understand what knowing the identity of the participants of the 2000 homecoming parade have anything to do with the students of color on campus or the first student union. I don't understand what that has to do with it.
Can I grab my time to Vanessa Schweitzer to speak on this?
Program perspective. As far as my time here at the university, I'm a senior now, so this is my 4th year that I've been on the campus. I know that in the past there has been a group which kind of refers to itself as a secret society, which has published literature in the past. As far as anything that came out recently, I haven't really seen anything particularly objectionable. But in the past, there has been objectionable ideas put out by this group, namely belittling women, as well as kind of taking pot shots at minorities and queer students and things like that. And that happened a few years ago, granted, and that the people who are part of the secret society now are not necessarily the same people that were part of the secret society in the past. However, the fact that this secret society is allowed to have a float at the homecoming parade and be considered some organization that ought to be recognized by the institution as a valid, I guess you could say, part of the university community is kind of upsetting. I would first say because it is secret, because we don't know who these people are that are basically saying whatever ideas and whatever kinds of things and any presentations that they want, and yet not being held accountable at all for what it is that they do or say. That is problematic. Secondly, I also think that whether or not they've actually been offensive enough for us to try to unmask who these people are, I don't think that really is the question. I think that there is a concern with the fact that we are allowing a secret group to have as much, I guess you could say, validity assigned to it as people that are members of the QSU or members of the Alliance or members of the Campus Republicans or Democrats who can't walk around under the veil of anonymity, which these people are allowed to walk around. I think that that is the issue behind this legislation and behind why we don't think that they should be allowed this anonymity in participating in the homecoming parade.
It seems to me like the main force behind it is the Alliance, and I think this is politics at its best. I mean, they're an interest group supporting something that they want. But I just think that their motives aren't where they should be. Like, I've heard two or three already from behind me here speak and say, we just want to talk to them. It's not a big deal. I mean, we want to discuss stuff with them. I mean, I still haven't heard anything that makes me fully understand why they're targeting them, besides that a newsletter a few years ago made some racial comments and some negative comments over women. Everything hasn't been direct. Like, Oscar stood up and he gave his little spiel and he said the safety of the future and it's our constitutional duties, and that's all very true. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but then everyone who's back here supporting this, or we just want to talk to them, or we just want to confront them, we just want their names. It doesn't seem to me that there's a reason that this legislation was even brought up, besides a personal vendetta between two groups on this campus. And as far as not knowing who they are, I think that's part of their rights.
So pretty much, I don't know who to direct this to, actually. I guess Oscar. question. Is this intended to single out one group? I mean, I understand that you don't like the content of their speech, of what they're doing or whatever, but is this intended for one group alone? Oscar, would you like to address that?
Do you want me to stand up?
Whatever.
No, it's not. It's just to avoid like what ASA president said about avoid future problems, hold accountability, and be responsible. I think it's also too about some ASU concern the fact that the programming board invests a lot of money in this, and we felt that it did not meet to our standards as far as programming. Does that answer your question?
Did you have a follow-up comment or question? Programmer Schweitzer and then Senator Sampson.
Okay, the couple of things that I have are, I think that what we need to kind of get to the heart of is whether or not it's a good idea for us to be able to find out what the identity is of different people who participate in the homecoming parade, especially people who are going to be wearing costumes or masks. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that as far as why did this legislation come up, why was it even written? It was kind of written, granted, as a response to the fact that there are some anonymous societies that use the fact that they're in costumes to their advantage, not just for fun, but to their advantage, to their political advantage, and things like that, which is different from having, you know, a mascot like Wolfie or something like that. We can find out who Wolfie is, but we can't find out who these people are that decide to say, we are the men of Coffin and Keys, or we are the men of the assassin group, or whatever, and you have no idea who they are. This is a little bit different. This is kind of unique. So what's neat about this legislation that we're proposing right now is that we go beyond how the mechanisms that exist right now. We go beyond the fact that you might be able to verify who the contact is for this organization. We want to be able to verify who the actual individuals are that decide that they're going to wear these masks, parade themselves around, and say, well, I'm still a secret member who criticizes, you know, members of the Senate, the president, whoever, you know, and I have political free reign, but you can't know who I am. I mean, we think that basically the university should not put up for that kind of thing. The other thing, too, I want to just basically concur with Steve that the fact that some students can get away with being part of a secret group, but still be considered part of the university community, does go against the idea of inclusiveness, community, sensitivity, or civility. What I would like to ask the Senate, because I think this is a real question that needs to be asked, which hasn't been asked all night, is what are the drawbacks to this legislation? What's so bad about not having a secret society? What's so bad about actually being able to say, okay, I hear this idea, I disagree with it, I want to respond to it, who said that? What's so bad about being able to know who said something or know who acted a certain way? Why is that a bad thing? Why is secrecy something that must be preserved? If people want to defend that idea, by all means, please do, because no one seems to be really doing that. People seem to be attacking the legislation, but why is it so important to protect secrecy is what I would want to know.
I'm tired of marching. Tired of marching for something that should have been mine at birth. I'm tired. I'm tired of struggling, dog. I'm tired of struggling, dog.
This 1961 Corvette owned by Lieutenant Bruce McKay is showing off the international cast of the Elvis newest show, One World, featuring dazzling acts from around the globe.
To these people, army verses, stash the arms in the churches, bombs in the purses. Just when you think it's calm on the surface, we bomb on the first. All the talk get nervous every verse. Revolutionary curse words, first come, first serve. It ain't no lost love. Freedom costs blood. That's word to the Mossberg, nigga. You need a revolution. You need a revolution. System ain't gon' change unless we make it change. You need a revolution. You need a revolution. System ain't gon' change unless we make it change.
It's an annual event. Let's see who the man star. The men of Coffin and Keys. Getting shows in the benefit of the University of Nevada, Reno.
call to vote. All those in favor of the motion to override the veto, the presidential veto of recommendation G, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Abstentions? I'd like to see a hand vote. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion fails.
Masses of our people are in the streets. The rebellions that we see are merely dress rehearsals for the revolution that's to come.
Are you going to live outside of the American culture, or are you going to live within it? As long as you stay in America, you've got to conform. What else can you do?